And here we go. Rolling sound, quiet.
Let's get ready to have a good time.
Change your life. No more excuses. Find your passion for pharmacy again. This is the Pharmacy Podcast Network's coverage of the 2018 PDS Super-Conference in Orlando, Florida. PDS Super-Conference 2018. This is the Pharmacy Podcast Network's coverage of PDS 2018.
Hi, this is Bill Henning, pharmacist owner at Giant Genie Pharmacy, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Hey, Bill, welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast. How are you?
Thanks, Todd. I'm doing great. We're all fired up here at the PDS Conference.
That's right. It's chilly inside the conference hall, but it's warm outside because we are in Orlando, Florida, at one of the most... I'll tell you what, I've been coming to PDS for years, and this is still one of the most exciting conferences. The sincerity, the energy level, the intelligence, the speakers. Bill, why do you invest in this conference?
Well, we invest in the conference for everything you just said. There's great speakers this year. J.R. Martinez came on. We have Magic Johnson set up for tomorrow. And it's all about leadership. It's all about the stuff that we did not get to learn in pharmacy school. And what happens outside the conference is just as important as listening to the speakers. You go out and have a drink afterwards, have dinner with some of the vendors, and you kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Just because I think I have it down on the East Coast, somebody on the West Coast has a great idea that we haven't explored yet.
That's a great point. The networking of this is just as important as the conference itself in sharing the best of practices, the best ideas that we have as pharmacy owners and people in the business of pharmacy. When did you start coming to PDS?
This will be my fourth conference.
And so what is it about the conference that you keep coming back specifically for your organization, for Giant Genie Pharmacy?
Just when you think there's nothing else or no new ideas for revenue purposes or leadership or being a better manager, they always come up with something, and something novel. It's something very interesting, and it's something that we can engage. I know after the conference, it's very important to keep it up until the next conference, but the first couple weeks, you're just on fire. You go back with all the great ideas, and this is actually the first year we brought 4 employees. So it was just the owners previously. We brought 4 employees with us this time, and I can tell you they're just as fired up.
What an investment, what a testimony to the PDS team that you continuously add additional members of your team to soaking in this environment, in the energy, in the education. Tell us a little bit about Giant Genie Pharmacy, Charlotte's #1 family-owned pharmacy since 1983.
Yeah, so just like you said, we started in 1983, and we still have some original staff members that are still on. We are how family-owned pharmacy used to be and how pharmacies used to be, and we try to continue that transition into the current generation, which is ever so difficult to do, but with the help of PDS, we managed to do it just fine.
Do you know what I cannot help thinking of every time I see 1983? Return of the Jedi.
There you go.
I can't help it.
I was actually born in 85, so I wasn't even alive then.
Oh, you're a young guy. All right. Well, Bill, thank you so much for sharing your oversight and insight to the PDS conference and to this environment and to the excitement of it being a pharmacy owner. There's a lot of obstacles to the success of an independent pharmacy owner, but I think that there's more to be excited about than to be disappointed about.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for having me on, Todd, and PDS is always breaking down those barriers and obstacles.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Cliff Holt with Hurricane Family Pharmacy, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Cliff Holt, how are you? Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Hey, Todd, I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
So you are a long-time attendee of PDS. You've been how many years now? Have you been there?
This is my 10th year.
10th year.
Yeah.
Why in the world do you keep investing your time and money to come to this place and come to this conference?
I should tell you, I was only going to be a member for 1 year. I was going to sign up, get Dan's big 1,000-page marketing book, and I thought that would be all the marketing I need for my whole career. And because I'm kind of a tightwad, and it's kind of expensive if you think about it as an expense. But I've learned it's not an expense, it's actually an investment. And really my membership in PDS is more of an asset. And so the bottom line is I look at it, so at the end of the year, I look at everything I pay money for and think, what's my ROI? And the ROI with PDS, it's simple to figure out. It's many, many times what I pay every year.
So breaking it down specifically, if I'm in the car right now, I'm on my way to work, I'm a pharmacy owner, I'm someone thinking about buying a pharmacy, and I'm listening to the testimonials of PDS, what is it specifically about this organization, about this conference, that really gets you excited as a pharmacy owner? What is it? The education? Is it the programs? Is it some of the marketing that they're presenting? Some of the out-of-box things? What is it specifically?
New ideas. New ideas. I mean, there are a lot of people across the country, a lot of pharmacists doing the same old thing. And I'm always looking for ways to differentiate my stores from everybody else.
Okay.
And so when I come to the PDS conference, I'll come away with 100 ideas, literally 100 ideas, narrow it down to 10, and then I just pick off the 2 or 3 easiest, and just so I can get all 10 of them done. And again, these are all ideas that set me apart, help me grow my business.
So Cliff, tell the listeners, because they don't know you, some of them might know you, Cliff Holt. Tell us a little bit about your business, Hurricane Family Pharmacy.
So Hurricane Family Pharmacy, if you're from Utah, it's spelled hurricane, but it's only 2 syllables, Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane.
Okay.
So that's what, if you're local or not. So Hurricane Family Pharmacy, we opened 9 years ago. Filled 1 prescription our first day. We prayed for somebody to come in at 2:30. They did, and now we went from me and 1 technician and 2 cashiers to we're at 40 now. 40 employees at Hurricane Family Pharmacy. I've got 4 stores now, and again, we're just trying to differentiate ourselves and just to really be able to serve the patient and serve our employees the best we can.
So are you looking at a new location that you were telling me about before we started the interview?
I am.
Okay, and where are you going to be putting that one?
Well, it'll be in southern Utah still.
Okay.
That's Hurricanes in southern Utah. A couple of my other stores, one's in central Utah, the other 2 are actually in northern Utah. So we'll have another store or 2 in southern Utah.
So, Cliff, what do you think the greatest challenge is right now of being a pharmacy owner?
I think the greatest challenge for all of us is to stop doing what we've been doing for the last decade or 2 or 3.
Really good point.
And you see this, a lot of guys have been resistant to change. I've been doing this a long time. I've been a pharmacist for 30 years, actually 33 years now. And it used to be you just had to put a shingle out and open your doors and you made money. And man, it is so not that way anymore. You got to really be proactive.
That's a really good point. So you're coming back PDS 2019?
I think my plans are already booked. Yeah, I think we have reservations already.
That's incredible. Cliff Holt, thank you so much for being on the Pharmacy Podcast.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Hello, this is Brian Norton with Wellgistics, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Hey, Brian. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you.
So, PDS. I've been to PDS several times. Pharmacy Development Services. Why is this such an incredible show? Every time I come to this conference, not only do I learn new stuff, but I get so energized by the hope for independent community pharmacy. But I want to hear it from your perspective. Why do you keep coming back and investing in the PDS conference?
It's funny. It's a great question. I was just on the phone the other day with a pretty well-known exhibitor here at the show as well, and they were telling me how incredible the show is for them. And I thought, well, because sometimes you don't know if it's just incredible for you or if others are experiencing the same thing.
Yep.
And we were talking more and more about that, and I think really what it boils down to is the excitement and the energy is one part of it that Dan and his team have been able to create from PDS. I think the other part is that the members the pharmacies that are fully engaged in PDS, they get the big picture. And what I mean by that is I think the independent pharmacy owners, we all know, are struggling. We know that they fight against the big commercial giants, right? And I think when you are out there really going after helping the smaller pharmacies, the little guys, so to speak, or the independent retail and compound pharmacies, and they have a larger voice than just themselves, which is really what PDS is. It's a larger voice than just an independent. So the more we are able to engage and collaborate and help these pharmacies understand that there are massive benefits available, then they can take advantage of the entire network versus just themselves. And I think that's the energy that's created on top of the many, many, many things that PDS is able to offer. Major data analytics programs that'll help the pharmacy understand where they might be missing the boat on certain drugs, certain prescriptions. And then from a wholesaler supplier standpoint, which is what we do at Wellgistics, we've teamed up with Farm Builder, and through Farm Builder as a brand and through Wellgistics as a wholesaler, we're licensed in all 50 states. We're VAUGHT accredited. What we do is we specifically work with manufacturers that have very unique products that are better products for patients.
Okay.
They offer a full copay value to cover the out-of-pocket for patients, and they also have an economic advantage for pharmacies. So those are our three core focuses. Now, what's the advantage to members and the excitement that members have at the show, and if you go near our booth anytime when the conference is out, you'll see at any given time just a massive crowd around our booth with excitement. It's because we promise them that they will have the lowest pricing on our products as a secondary supplier in the marketplace, and they will not find it better anywhere else. So that's just one small piece of I think the reason why so many pharmacies are engaging and excited about the PDS conference is because they know that there are certain, really will move the needle advantages to being a member and to being part of the PDS program. And you'll see a massive amount of new registrations this year because that's one of the main primary reasons. They want to receive products into their pharmacy and service their patients, do the right thing for their patients, but also at what point do you start focusing in on how do I make it worth my time? How do I take advantage of the available profits that are out there in the marketplace, and how do I focus in on those drugs?
So listeners of the show usually listen to the show. About 48% of our total listeners are listening between 6:30 and 9:30 in the morning, so they might not be able to write something down. We will put it in the show notes, but give out your website so that listeners know to contact you. But like I said, listeners, don't worry about it. We'll put it in the show notes. But Brian, tell us where we can find more information about you.
Yeah, so www.wellgistics, so just like logistics but with well in front of it, .com is our full website. And our phone number is 863-336-5001.
Excellent. So that's 863-336-5001. You're listening to Brian Norton on the Pharmacy Podcast. Hey, thanks for being on here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Cool.
Hey, Pharmacy Podcast Network. This is an exciting opportunity for the Pharmacy Podcast. Todd Urey here at the PDS 2018 Conference, Pharmacy Development Services, and I have the one and only Dan Benamoz on the show. He hasn't been on the show for a while, so welcome back to the Pharmacy Podcast, Dan.
Well, thank you, Todd, for having me. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
So we also have the new CEO of PDS, Jeff Phillips, with us. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
So I've been to PDS several times. Every time I come, I'm jazzed up. I get excited to be around this energy. There's lots of sincerity here. The subject matter that we're discussing on stage and had discussed on stage is just so relevant. But I just want to start out, what do you guys think is the greatest challenge to being a independent pharmacy owner today? And what's your vision for the future of independent pharmacy?
All right. You want to start?
Sure, I can. Thank you. Thanks, Todd. I think the biggest challenge that our independent pharmacies have is overcoming the temptation to get caught up in worrying about the outside influences. The industry is creating a lot of problems for our independent pharmacies, and it's really just a state of the environment that we work in, and there are people like NCPA and others that are dealing with that, and we're supporting them in that. But for what PDS has long believed is that it's important that we focus on the things we have control over, and by focusing on the information that you have inside your pharmacy, focusing on your patient base, working with your local prescribers, there are ways to overcome all those things, and they start to diminish in their importance when you start to focus on the capabilities that you have within your own walls.
So, Dan, what would you say to an owner that's listening to this show, a pharmacy technician that's a pharmacy owner, a pharmacist that's a pharmacy owner, even someone who doesn't even own a pharmacy but wants to own a pharmacy, who has never attended the conference, who doesn't really know much about PDS? Why should they attend this conference, and why should they get involved with what is Pharmacy Development Services?
Well, I guess what I would say to them is I know the way I feel is that if I'm the smartest person in the room, I am totally in the wrong room.
I love that.
So the only way to get better is to be better and be around people who perform, who know what they're doing. No sense reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of high-performance people here. Life gives to the givers, takes from the takers. We've got a culture within the membership. Everybody's helping each other. They're not in competition with one another, and the whole idea is to lift everybody up. So it's a great place to find out what you can do, whereas, as Jeff was saying, the outside forces that you have no control over. There is opportunity. There is enormous amount of opportunity, but you have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah, when we've done many shows on talking with other pharmacy owners at some of the other national conferences, one of the themes that keeps coming back is constantly reinventing and creativity and paying attention to what's happening maybe in other industries. Maybe it doesn't even have to do with pharmacy. Maybe you go to a Ace Hardware, or you go to another convention that's just about marketing, but it's Reed crushing it with Gary Vee, and just thinking outside the box that you have to do something else than just what you were doing 20 or 30 years ago. So it's the reinvention of ourselves, but then it's also learning from each other. And I get the most out of the PDS conference and listening to the presenters that do come from outside the industry, that have nothing to do with pharmacy, that brings those ideas and that freshness into the conference. So Jeff, on that theme, what do you see as the most exciting aspect of independent pharmacy ownership in 2018 and beyond?
Well, it may surprise people to say this, but we believe that 2018 could be the best year for independent pharmacies ever. Our members had really good years in 2016 and 2017, but with the current capabilities that we're bringing to them, we've got a number of programs, and some of them are highly impactful, immediately impactful, related to analyzing data within your pharmacy, finding ways to treat your patients in different ways that give them benefit that they hadn't seen before, and do it in a way that makes sure that it's economically advantageous to the pharmacy. And when you can marry up those two things of patient benefit and pharmacy benefit, you can really have something really powerful. So we think that 2018 is going to be the best year ever, and evidence from our membership tells us we're probably correct.
Well, I want to thank everybody that's come to the conference, supported the conference. We have over 100 vendors who support the initiatives we're doing, who support the cause. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the people who took time away from their businesses to come. They brought employees with them as well. I know that's not a cheap thing to do. It's very expensive, and the value they see is they're bringing home people who are just as excited and informed as they were. So that helps. Of course, I have a tremendous team. Jeff and everybody have done a tremendous job, small organization, putting on what I think is probably one of the most inspiring and informative conferences in the industry.
And Dan, I want to thank you for starting this all. How many years ago? 16 years ago?
No, actually, May 1st, 2018 will be 20 years.
Oh, my Lord. So I want to thank you, Dan, for inspiring us all and for doing this and seeing it through and being consistent and not taking the easy road, because it hasn't been easy.
No, it isn't. And can I leave your listeners with a tip? Excuse me, the pharmacy owners, I wanted to leave a simple concept, whether you join PDS or not, a very basic concept that can make a huge difference in your business right off the bat is look at everything you're dispensing. And you're making money on some things, you're losing money on others. And as simple as this sounds, do less of the things you're losing money on. There are options, there are alternatives. If you know where to look, great. If not, that's the benefit of coaching. They get you to where you want to be faster. And the areas where you are making money, look at that. Do more of that.
Right.
And believe it or not, do more of what you make money at and do less of what you're losing money at. And if you don't know exactly how to do that, or you don't want to reinvent the wheel, give us a call. But I think if you just start looking and thinking about your activities, what's going on in your business, change your activities, you change the results that you get.
We're excited about PDS 2019. Jeff, Dan, thank you so much for being part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. If you're listening to the show and you're driving, obviously this is all going to be in the show notes, so don't be trying to take notes while you're driving. Keep your hands on the wheel. PharmacyOwners.com. That is the website. It will be in the show notes, and we thank you for listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Thank you, Todd.
Cool.
Partner with the Pharmacy Podcast Network. That's right. Give me a call. I can help you through 25 of our co-hosts, ranging from almost anything with regards to the business of pharmacy, pharmacogenomics, career development, people that have run businesses, marketing expertise, staffing, specialty pharmacy, a non-traditional pharmacist track, the Gavel and Pestle podcast, the fusion of law and pharmacy, our political show, Polititalk RX. Partner with the Pharmacy Podcast Network with your conference as a subject matter expert. If you have a pharmacy podcast idea yourself, if you're a solutions provider, a technology provider trying to reach other pharmacy owners, pharmacy decision makers, innovators, partner with the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Go to pharmacypodcast.com. Leave us a voice message. Contact us today, 412-585-4001. And as always, we thank you for listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.